Are you looking for something to do on your lunch break? Well, there's a show on the BS3 network that has only 4 words to say to you.
We ready. We ready. We ready for y'all. We ready. We ready. We ready for y'all.
The Lunch Break with AJ, powered by JM&E. Live weekdays at noon Central.
What's up, everybody? It's me, KG Chris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. Welcome to another edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, powered by JM&E, streaming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and of course on Roku on the BS3 network. Joining me this afternoon is my man, my colleague. I won't mention his new nickname, but none other than A.D. Adolphus Moore from the AdMax Corner. How are you, sir? Mr. Moore, how are you?
Mr. Gardner, how are you? Hey, man, I made it. I made it to the lunch break, man. I mean, I made it.
Speaking of which, AJ says hi. I told him you were going to help me out today, and he said, tell AD I said hi. So,
AJ, I made it. I made it.
So, yeah, you and him got to do a better job getting together when he's hosting the show. But today I got you here on the lunch break, the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the lunch break. So it's great to see you. I'm kind of curious to see if your number one fan is going to chime in at all. She might be busy.
Well, you know,
but who knows? Time will tell.
You never know. Maybe she, I have no idea. But hey, guess what? We might turn out some new fans. Why not?
Yeah.
We're new, as you've been designated the new media consortium, media group consortium, or whatever the case might be. So let's rise. Let's put it like this. Let's rise.
And for folks who don't know you, AD, tell folks a little about yourself if they have not already seen you on the AdMax Corner or a few times on FTS Folk Talking Sports.
Well, let's see. Been doing this for a little bit of while. Obviously, the name of the AdMax Corner included the longtime sports editor of the Guilford Max Edison, Houston Defender, and he and I just we like to ride or die. But we and just being truth in advertising, truth in lending. If it had not been for Ralph Cooper, a lot of us wouldn't have this opportunity right now, Chris.
Correct.
And like I say, just you got to tell it. If we don't tell the history like it's supposed to be told and give credence and give a credit where it's due, the Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper, because like I say, when Max and I got started, I mean the first time we was on host, Ralph was going on vacation, he was going somewhere, and I looked at Max and said, "You mean Ralph gonna turn his show over to us?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, okay." And it's sort of like that bug that bites you, and it still keeps biting you, and you just keep morphing, just keep progressing, and you morph over and you grow over, and so now been in it a while. I was thinking about this the other day, Chris, not just when we started with Ralph, it used to be, get the bag and have an actual phone line. Used to, when we go on site,
phone line, the big old
had to get the big phone
quarters and all that.
Yeah, had to go plug into the line.
Yep.
Now we could take one cell phone and that whole bag. You literally could take your cell phone now and a Chromebook, and you can go broadcast. We broadcast around the world now, and really, you don't even have your Chromebook. You can do it off your cell phone. So this is how technology has allowed us to even the playing field.
Yep.
Because if somebody don't let you come in their sandbox, that's okay. We don't need to. make our own sandbox, and that's where I'm at. And I think that's one thing that you allow you with your platform. You already give you credit to the fact you've been the owner of the Houston Roundball Review for what 20 plus years now. Is it? Am I
It'll be 30 next year. Yes,
30?
sir.
Yeah. So almost 30 years, and the thing about it, you have had the vision to keep growing and to keep moving, and you're not waiting on nobody. We're not waiting on anybody else. We go do what we know how to do. We have the know-how, we have the wherewithal, we have the knowledge, we have the experience, and we go get it done, and we just move on. And the folks that like it, we appreciate it. The critics that don't like it, I appreciate them too, because that makes me want to be move, to check myself and say, okay, what am I doing to make myself better? What do we do to make this program better? And let's and also to entertain but inform. And so we not just here just to show up. We not. And one thing about it, we're not gonna be a minstrel show, but this is about education, informing, and having a good time all at the same time.
Yes, sir. And it's funny. I'm glad you mentioned Ralph Cooper because he had me on his show yesterday evening to talk about the NBA Finals, get my prediction, which I'll ask you about momentarily. But he mentioned that he saw you yesterday.
Yep. Yeah.
And y'all were chopping it up a little bit. So if you don't mind, sir, we got a clip that you got from yesterday's Texans OTA. Just do a little lead in on it. And if I can figure out how to do technology, make it work. But let's get into it. What we're about to see.
This is running back coach Danny Barrett. Yesterday they had the Texans in their second week OTAs, and so the media had had an opportunity to come in and watch practice, and then they had all the coaches sort of like the big, you had the old coordinator, the old offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, and then they had all of the position coaches all had sort of like a bull session within the media room, and so we sort of went around and got a chance to meet the new coaches because Frank Ross and Danny Barrett are holdovers from the previous regime, and so it was a good to sort of like chop it back up with Danny. I said, I sort of told him, I said, Danny, you still one of the few faces around here that we recognize. He sort of laughed about it, and he is him and the special team coordinator. So it's good to have a familiar face and being able to make that transition from that last regime to this regime. But setting up this piece, it was talking about Damian Pierce and his progress from one year to the next. So, and the fact that his maturity, and I'm not sure if I remember, this might be talking about the whole running back room and the experience that they have now as opposed to what they were dealing with last year.
All right, cross your fingers, AD. Make it work here. Here we go.
Yes, well, especially for a guy like Damien, first year coming in, that's usually the toughest thing for your first year backs is understanding the overall details of pass protection. And so he was able to get that experience last year, and he's night and day from where he was last year. This time around, just understanding, seeing the big picture, before things happen. He's able to identify, things quicker now, get to his pickups and everything. So that's going to help us out tremendously. When he's in the football game, teams don't think we're just going to pass the football. I'm sorry, just run the football, because his ability now to pass protect and understanding, what's needed in our passing game from him. I'm sorry. Yes, well, especially for a guy like.
Yeah, and the question that I posed to Danny was the fact that last year, and one of the things with a rookie running back, when you're in a passing attack, being able for blitz pickup and different packages. Obviously, when Damian was in there, everybody knew, hey, the Texans get ready to run the ball.
Right.
Now you got it. He's like he stated, he has a year in his belt. Things have slowed down. So now it's not so much, well, they're gonna get a ball to Damian or maybe on a wheel route. Damian can be effective now because if the backer doesn't come, if they don't run a blitz package or something, Damian now has enough wherewithal. He has enough experience now that maybe he can sort of sneak out on the backside, depending on which side the flow goes, sneak out on the backside. Damian can probably find himself now open this year, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him open several different times and folks just forget about him, and he becomes that a third, fourth, or fifth option out there. and really can really cause some serious harms on some defenses that's hit before. And I used to just say coaching up or scouting him and looking at him as a pass threat, and he very well could become that pass threat this year. Also, the fact that this running back room this year, you have got a lot more veterans. You don't have that clip, but I would just there's a lot more veteranship that's coming in, and so the competition is going to be a lot keener this year. And I think that what you're going to see with the Texans, and I'm not here to just say the blow, and I'm not here to sell season tickets for the Texans or nothing like that, but I think you're going to see more than 3 victories this year.
All right, and we know what this is in reference to, right here from Willie Gibson chiming in from Ohio on Facebook. Don't worry about people who don't like it. He knows somebody who does. And if you're curious about that, just watch this past Sunday's episode of Folks Talking Sports. And morning to you, morning to California, because I believe he's in California, a Cougar alum right there, Mr. Tran. How are you?
Oh, he's out on the West Coast, huh?
He is, yes.
As they call it, the left coast. That's okay. I got kids and grandkids and family out there on the left coast too. So, folks talk about it, but guess what? I bet y'all didn't want to do without it, especially down there in San Diego when they got all the naval bases, SEALs Training Center, Marine Corps Training Base, and all that down there. So, everybody talk about it, but guess what? They still got the bases out there. So,
and we are going to take a quick break, reminding everybody you're watching the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break. Throwback Thursday, streaming to you on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and of course, on Roku on the BS3 network. And if you don't have the BS3 network, go to bs3network.com or just go to Roku and download that app and do like I do and watch it. Because yes, the Lunch Break is streaming to you live on Roku. AD, Max looking down at us, smiling, just grinning like, my fellas getting it done. Yes, sir. We are getting done. This
absolutely.
Quick hit from Cole Sports. Cole Johnson. Back in about 70 seconds.
If you're looking for a sports program that gives you the flavor.
Washington Commanders? Really?
This whole thing stinks to high heaven.
That pulls no punches.
Thuggish act by a thuggish actor.
That gives you some humor.
Praise everything LeBron does and never criticize it.
If you want a show that gives you good times, then this is that show. BS3 Network proudly presents.
I am Cole Johnson and welcome to
Cole Sports with a Z. Every Friday on Patreon and every Saturday on YouTube, Spreaker, and all other outlets.
Welcome back to the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break here on Throwback Thursday. I'm KG Chris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. Joining me is my man AD Moore, Dolphus Moore from the Ad Max Corner. AD, I forgot to do it coming out of the break, so if you don't mind, going to put it on.
Uh-oh.
Why? Y'all can't read that. Y'all can't read that. That says
wait a minute.
Detroit Pistons right there. Willie Gibson, this for you, baby. Detroit got a new head coach coming up to be announced hopefully soon enough. Fat contract. Fat, huge contract. 6 years, reportedly $78 million with incentives to make it 8 years, $100 million possibly. But one more, that's for everybody who doesn't know. I'm 51 years old, been a Detroit Pistons fan since 1986. So I'm not some fly-by fan, nothing like that, bandwagon, none of that stuff. So one time from the people up in Detroit basketball. But I digress.
So I guess that's not a rumor anymore. Monty Williams is going to be the head coach, huh?
Got to dot them I's and cross them T's and put his name on that contract and wait for those direct deposits to start rolling in. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Well, does that mean Doc goes to Phoenix or what?
Who knows, possibly, but I don't care right now. I'm going to bask in the glow of Monty Williams being head coach because I didn't say specifically, and looking back on it, I wasn't as glowing about it, but I did mention on an episode of Folks Talking Sports about 3 Sundays ago to Willie Gibson and Andy Yanez. I said, so what if the window is longer because he's talking about Monty going to Philly or other options open. And I said, well, the window to winning a championship is wider with Detroit than it is Philly.
Yeah, because y'all got
so what if Monty decides to go to Detroit? Well, that was 3 weeks ago.
3
Here
weeks
we
later.
Are, 3 weeks later.
Monty's in Detroit. Looks like it. It sounds like it.
Looks like it. And he said no initially because he wasn't sure if he wanted to coach to take a season off. But Detroit was one of the 2 jobs that he would have considered if he opted to coach this coming season. So owner Tom Gore decided, why not Monty? So they went back, info courtesy of my man James L. Edwards, the Detroit Pistons beat writer for The Athletic. They went on that full court press, got the private plane, wrote down some money figures. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, I think I can do this I think I can coach you guys for a while. Yeah. So here we are. So hopefully, if nothing breaks down, nothing goes sideways, Monty Williams will be the head coach of the young Pistons. I've had some issues with him as coaching. Some of his X's and O's with the Suns weren't great, but he's good with young teams, young players. I think he's an upgrade to Dwayne Casey. So I'm looking forward to it. One more time. Excuse me, AD. One more time. Detroit basketball. You going to say, sir?
Got a question for you. So what you see like as it stands right now, Miami is the beast in the East. You got the Bucks, you got the Celtics, you got is the power of the NBA, even though we're going to talk about the finals coming up, probably we'll just morph right on into it. But what Monty moving over to the NBA East, does the power shift? Is that power shift in your mind, Chris? You mean back? This is your bailiwick. I'm throwing this in your power range. Does it shift over now from the West to the East with Monty going over?
Well, overall, I think the East has more good teams than the West. The West has a lot of teams that are part of, middle of the pack tier wise. I think the East has more elite teams. Of course, Detroit's way, 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 way far away from being elite. They're trying to get them to win 20 games next year, then 25 and 30 and on and on. But we're going to talk football, UA's football, but you brought it up. I forgot to mention it, so I got to do it now. The poll question is on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. The options are Nuggets in 4 or 5, Nuggets in 6 or 7, Heat in 4 or 5, and Heat in 6 or 7. So we got a few people casting votes. Right now we got Heat. It's a tie between Nuggets 4 or 5 and Heat in 6 or 7. The tie. And I'm going to give you credit because this past Sunday, you and Mr. Willie Gibson were correct on y'all's prediction about Game 7 between Miami and Boston, whereas me and young Andy Yanez were incorrect. Y'all picked Miami to win in Boston. Andy and I picked Boston to win Game 7. So salute to you, sir. And Willie, if you're still watching, salute to you as well. But just take a lap around, a victory lap, Mr. Moore. Go ahead.
Well, here's the one thing. I didn't think this was going to be a blowout. I'm be quite keen. I did not expect a blowout. But I went back to something I mentioned last Sunday on Folks Talking Sports, is the fact that I still, this is, and I've been around long enough. This was not the old Boston Garden. This was not the old parquet floor. Most times when you walked in the Boston Garden, Game 7, you walked out of there with your head beaten badly. and the case might, and as far as everything was concerned. Yes, Boston rose up and gave us, after being down 0-3, rose up and tied the series. But did they play their best games just trying to tie it, and then was nothing left in the tank? And the fact that who is that? He sprung his ankle.
Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum, when he sprung his ankle, and I'm not sure what they did. Was that a fortune predicting for the rest of it? It looked like that was the case when he came down awkward and sprained his ankle. Looked like never. I didn't think that would be it, but they never could come back, man.
What that injury did in Jaylen Brown's mind was he had to do everything. Jaylen Brown try to do too much. He took too many awful shots. He had 8 turnovers, one more than he had made baskets. His shot selection was horrible. He just tried to do too much. And we got a few Rocket fans like Tony M, who's a true supporter of the Houston Roundball Review, numerous platforms. So I'm going to ask him, and I'll do it again Saturday on the next edition of Let's Talk Houston Rockets on YouTube, 7 p.m. Central. But based on what Jaylen Brown has done, really, since he was named to All-NBA team, he's done trash. He's shot poorly. He's played poorly. Poor decision-making. Is he still a guy the Rocket fans want on the Rockets via trade or, via free agent signing, things of that sort? But because he's been bad, really bad. So we shall see. Just hit me up in the comments there right now, viewers. But Jimmy Buckets, Tom Ball's own.
Yep, Tom Ball's on.
Jimmy Butler, Hemi. And I didn't know this, but reading an article in the Houston Chronicle earlier this week, Jimmy's AAU coach is John Urey. I've known John Urey probably as long as Indiana has been alive. Okay. So that's 20 years, roughly 20 years. So I was like, I didn't realize John coached Jimmy on AAU. Mm-hmm. And part of the article was John and Jimmy's high school coach were trying to get college coaches to look at Jimmy and give him a scholarship. And no one did. So Jimmy went the JUCO route, not because of grades, but because no one gave him a scholarship offer. He shined that freshman year in JUCO, and then started getting the Division I offers. And coaches were like, yeah, you're right. John's like, I told y'all. I told y'all. But even John says, and sometimes John is very braggadocious, but John's like, I do Jimmy be good. But
I didn't know Jimmy that good, huh?
Good. So yeah. Tom Ball's on. He's doing, let me put it up because it was a comment, I think, for Mr. Tran. It was Jimmy Butler. I disagree. It was Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin was the unknown hero, the unsung hero for the Heat throughout the series against Boston. Jimmy had his moment, especially in the fourth quarter, but Caleb Martin kept the Heat close.
Oh, without a doubt, Chris.
MVP voting for the Eastern Conference most ever played. It was 5-4.
Yeah, it was a one vote difference. It was a 1 vote difference as far as the MVP was concerned. But at the end of the day, I think they got it right. I mean, seriously, I think they got it right as far as MVP is concerned. I mean, we can argue back and forth about that 1 vote, but you know what? Let's face it. Basketball is 5-on-5. It wasn't 5-on-3 or whatever. You still need you got to have your superstars. You know this. I'm not telling you anything. You got to have your superstars. You got to have your one or two. Most teams now, it seems like you got to have 1, 2, or 3. If you look in the case of the Golden State Warriors, when they had that trifecta, and even in that case, but you got to have that 1 or 2 stars, that third person, and a 4th option. In some cases, you got to have a 6-man coming off the bench, and sometimes you even got to have a 7th or an 8th person coming off the bench, because in a series, it's not like playing. It's not like playing the 81 game season. You go in there. I mean, come on. Half the time, you wondering sometimes are these guys even trying and I'm not pointing a finger of being so accusatory, but they got 81 games. Everybody's 82. I'm sorry, 82 games, and basically, they in the city. They're in the city. Less than 36 to 48 hours, couple of days off rest. But now, when they have to really sit down, you really find out who are the true basketball players, because now you have to find out. You actually see these guys' deficiencies show up. You see where the shortcomings show up. You see where they're known that they can literally play basketball, because it's little subtle tweaks and changes when you go into a 7-game series on how you going to exasperate a weakness on some teams and exploit it, and then just keep coming out there and keep pounding away. And I think, and that's what the Heat done to the Celtics. They walked right into TD Garden, hit them in the mouth first time right off the bat.
Yep.
Basically they took the crowd out. They took the crowd out the second night, and then they and really got them down there in Miami, and really came within 0.2 of a second. They could have already had a couple of days of rest. But so be it. Now they had to tip off the night against the Denver Nuggets, and so I figured the Nuggets in 6 games.
Okay, well, you answered that question. All right, Alan, let me be more specific about your question. It's about Jordan Brand football. UH football is not Jordan Brand. Men's, women's basketball is, especially UH women's basketball. It's, I don't know how or why. Football, obviously, but anyway. I digress on that. Football-wise, I'm not sure. Because it used to be part of the Jordan Brand, you had to have success. You had to win. You had to become relevant on a national scale. So that's why I wonder about UH women's basketball being a Jordan Brand member, because they have not had that success. Let's just be serious. They haven't. Hopefully they will at one day. They will at some point, but I'm not sure if the criteria has changed. I don't know if, because UH is now a month away from joining the Big 12, if that bodes well for UH football to become a Jordan Brand team. We shall see. But we're going to take a break, because we're going to come back. We're going to talk some Big 12 football and a few other things about the Big 12 and some rumors in Colorado and things of that sort. But I'm letting everybody know with this next clip, it's about 90 seconds, what the BS3 network is really all about. BS3 TV, changing the way you watch television. Be right back in 90 seconds.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Welcome back to another edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, powered by JM&E, streaming to you live on Roku on the BS3 network, as well as on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter. I am KG Chris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. Joining me is my man, AD Adolphus Moore from the Ad Max Corner. We've been talking NBA Finals. Hey, you said Nuggets in 6. I told Ralph Cooper last night on his show Nuggets in 5. I was kind of going back and forth between 5 or 6. Either way, I'm not picking the Heat. I like to see Jimmy Buckets get a title, but I'm not doing that. I just think Denver has more options to score. The defense has improved to a point that I can respect it and pick them to win a ring, because that was the main reason that I did not pick them to get to this far. I just didn't trust them. They didn't have enough. They hadn't done it yet. Hadn't proven to me that they could do it. They've done it. They've gotten this far. So I'm picking the Nuggets to win the title. We got disagreement here. Heat in 7. I just want to be a competitive series. I don't want blowouts left and right, any of those kind of things. I think the TV ratings are still going to be kind of subpar because it's not a marquee franchise either way. It's not Boston. It's not the Lakers. It's not Golden State. Doesn't have any of those marquee names to the average fan.
Chris,
Not just go ahead, AD. What are you going to say?
Let me pose this question to you, and I'm digging into your basketball knowledge. Is this the Denver that won the game, or was it the Denver that won the game because the Lakers that came up short and did not have enough bullets in their holster to really counter what the Nuggets put out on the floor?
Denver won the series. Lakers played well. LeBron carried them at some points. Other guys carried them at some points. Denver answered every Laker run, every challenge. Lakers got a lead. Nuggets are like, that's okay. We'll walk y'all down. We believe. Nuggets are playing at a level of, both teams are. I mean, you got to be at this level of belief in what you're doing and your teammates, your coaches, and all those things to get this far, to get to the finals. But the Nuggets are just like at a championship level, no concern. No worries about, we'll get this done. We got the weapons, Jamal Murray, Jokic, just other guys. Their team, Bruce Brown, a former Piston, another one of those mistakes. There's a reason why Detroit has sucked for so long. But anyway, I think Denver's going to win the series. Just be competitive. I'd like it to be competitive going the last 2 minutes of every game, hopefully. But your number one fan has found you, Mr. Moore. Willie Gibson. Mr. America now. New nickname for AD Moore. But seriously, Tony Yim's even going to do it. He's going to Heat in 7. But he's a gambler, so we shall see.
Okay, all right.
We'll see. Just be competitive, because that's what I want. But the basketball fans will watch the series.
Yeah.
Average fans, the fans who believe in stars, we joked about it on a previous FTS. Jimmy, who is that? What's his last name?
Yeah.
You said Buckets. What is that his real last name? And why do they call him the Joker? His last name is, it looks like Jock Itch. What is that? Who are these people? I don't know. Where's LeBron? Where's Steph Curry? Who are these? I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, where's Draymond? Where's Draymond? Where's
Klay Thompson? The John B looking guy. Where's he? I don't know who these are. Where's the unibrow young man? Where are those kind of folks? I don't see who these. I'm not gonna watch this, dear. I don't. No. I think they're gonna lose those fans, but that's okay. See, Tony M. I love these two teams for pure basketball without the fluff. That's what I'm gonna watch. But it's just. There's not as many of us as there are of the average fans, the fans who are in it for
the star power. Yeah. I mean, they showing up because they done heard of Steph, they done heard of Draymond, they done heard of LeBron, all of those household names. They've heard of them, and plus, like I say, those are the ones that's selling all the products right now. I mean,
right.
How many products have you seen Jokic sell?
Exactly. So that's part of it. I think he'll sell more, and it's really not his style. He's just not into that kind of stuff. It's not who he is. But Corey, thank you as well. Got some more UH alums chiming in. So let's segue on into it here on the Houston Roundball Review takeover of the lunch break, powered by JM&E. Big 12. And I'm going to get into the scheduled announcement part of TV announcements yesterday, May 31st. But for those who may not know, we got an email reminder this morning that Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark is scheduled to talk with the media Friday, as in tomorrow, June 2nd, to give who knows what updates we may ask him about, because I know I have a few questions about possible rumors of Colorado joining the Big 12 or UConn discussions or Gonzaga discussions about coming to the Big 12. I'm kind of curious to see what Commissioner Yormark, how he'll answer the questions. So there has not been finalized a time of it, but Commissioner Brett Yormark is slated to talk with the media. It's been in the works for a few weeks because we were emailed asked if we wanted to participate. Obviously, we wanted to participate, but it's going to be a Zoom session, so we shall see. But yes, tomorrow, June 2nd, unless it's canceled, because it remains fluid, AD. You know how things are.
Yeah.
Brett Yormark is slated to speak with media just to give an update about where the conference stands in terms of this be the ending, the conclusion of the Big 12 spring meeting taking place in West Virginia, of all places. Why not Houston? But no whole other thing, because the city of Houston, UH, got to get involved in some of these Big 12 events, whether it's spring meetings, whether it's some media days for football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, whatever, championships for the conference. Get involved in some of those because, hey.
Well, I think basically what Houston and with them coming into the Big 12, Houston, as we've seen with hosting the Final Fours, the
men's Final Four,
men's Final Four, hosting men's semifinal, quarter regionals and so forth, and the fact that they will this will be home of the 2023
World Cup, the CFP
World Cup
football playoff,
yeah,
next
college
year.
all of that. Anyway, I mean, the avenue and the fact that this city has proven it can host big time events. So I'm eventually, and I think if folks are listening over there on Holman Street, over at U of H, President Couture's office is the director of University Athletics, and all. If they're listening, somebody need to get out there. Coach, you got to win first. You got to put the product out on the floor. You already have a very saleable product.
Well, on the floor of hoops, yes.
Yeah,
on the field. On the field.
That's what I was saying. You have a product with Kelvin Sampson and
Yes.
UH basketball. It has to be matched now by the other revenue producing sport, i.e. football.
It has to right there. There we go.
They have to. Yeah.
Let's get into it. All right. That's the Houston Cougars football kickoff times and networks. It was announced yesterday. The Big 12 announced. A lot of the autonomous 5 conferences made their announcements Wednesday, May 31st. So everyone chiming in, watching us here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Roku on BS3. AD Moore, first up.
That's a tough. I'm gonna tell you right now. That's a very tough opening schedule. I'm gonna tell you, University of Texas at San Antonio is not a pushover.
AD.
I would have. They probably should have took Sam Houston first.
AD.
Yes, sir.
You're being nice. You're being politically correct. That's a loss. Okay. Coogs, September 2nd, home against UTSA. I believe that's a home game. Yeah, it's a home game, right?
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah. That's a loss. Okay. That's a loss. I hope I'm wrong. First non-conference games, because be another slide coming up. But the Cougs non-conference schedule, UTSA, Rice, Sam Houston State. I only feel confident that Cougs will beat Sam Houston State. That's the only one I'm confident in.
With that being my alma mater, and I know how they this past couple of seasons since they made the step up, they had been playing for nothing, and so they basically have redshirted. They basically have a football and a half team that's been redshirted. Basically they quit. They were nothing to play for. So it's going to be interesting as to which team. And I'm not going to say that Sam Houston State game you can put it in the win column right now, because
they're going to Conference USA, so they're changing, right? That is right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, see, I didn't even know. It didn't even matter to me if UTSA is ranked in top 25 or not, I'm still picking them to win, ranked or not, whatever. But Corey, he's laughing. He's laughing at not me per se, but I think because I feel confident that UTSA will win the game. So, but and Willie's, this is reference to Andy Yanez's prediction. In case anyone doesn't know and doesn't follow us on our shows and our platforms, Andy Yanez guarantees that October 21st, the Houston Cougars football team may be their only win all year, A.D. Moore. The Houston Cougars will defeat the Texas Longhorns on October 21st, per Andy Yanez of Pod Slamma Jamma. That's what
they're taking them to TDECU Stadium, right? They're not going to NRG.
Correct. It's going to be at TDECC. Corey knows. Corey's followed us. He knows losing to UTSA but beating UT, according to Andy. Yeah. Well, Andy, he's kind of wavering because he says he believes the Cougars are going to start the season 3-0. No. Like Tony right here, 0-1. Yeah.
No.
So
and let's face it, even with what TCU has lost, TCU, they got to come back with a quarterback and a few other things. But quarterback is going to be their biggest replacement value. What they got to reload with it from a quarterback standpoint.
And let me say, he's bringing up logically. I understand logically, but UTSA, they're losing a lot. So the Cougs losing, the big weapons on offense. But this is where I'm going. Corey laughing at the fact that UTSA should even be in the conversation of beating U of H. We should be better than that, in my opinion. Yes, the Cougs should be. But the reason why I'm even considering it, one factor right there, Cougs defense was trash last year. But as long as that man is in charge of the program at Houston.
Which man we talking about, Chris?
Dana Holgorsen.
Oh, okay.
Dana Holgorsen's in charge. I have doubts. He is the reason why I have a lot of doubts of this slow start to this coming season. He's the reason why I have doubts about the Cougs doing anything positive this first year in the Big 12. It's because of him. That's the main reason. It's nothing, Alton McCaskill leaving is another issue, but I think, the Cougs should have more talent than UTSA. They should. No question. They should have more talent than Rice. They should. No question. And they should beat Rice. They struggled with Rice in previous years. But Dana Holgorsen has to show me more than what he's shown me. And you can say, well, Chris, they won 8 games and blah, blah, blah. The teams they beat in conference weren't that impressive. They didn't play UCF. They didn't play Cincinnati until the conference championship game and got mashed, so I have reasons for it. Hey, as an alum, I hope Dana proves me wrong. I hope the Cougs run through the conference undefeated, kick butt, and call me out at the press conference. Even say it directly if he wants to. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about that happening, though, AD. I'm not. But just going through the rest of the slides. Well, those 4 games right there.
They could be. I can see them being 2-2.
Who's the other win?
West Virginia. I can see them. I don't see them beating TCU. They'll probably beat Sam Houston, and they'll probably beat West Virginia.
All right. And the West Virginia game, that October 12th is a Thursday. Thursday, 6 p.m., City of Houston. I'm kind of curious to see how many fans attend that game.
Yeah, and speaking of fans, let me folks, everybody have complained about Houston, not being treated fairly, all the blah 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 blah. If you're a U of H fan, if you're a U of H alumni, that you only have 43,000. Was it TDC? 43,000?
40,000.
40,000.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all can't figure out a way to put 40,000 folks in that stadium consistently, now that you're in the Big 12, and you can't wait for them to win, you got to show up. I think
no question.
They have got to show up.
It's put up or shut up time for U.S. alums. Period.
It is. you always said that we're better than that. Yeah, I'm old enough to remember when Texas was one of the big forces of keeping the U of H out of the Southwest Conference. When they finally got to the Southwest Conference, they kicked Texas butt. No ifs, ands, and buts.
Correct.
Particularly on the football and it's basketball as well, and all the other sports. But the fact of the matter now remains: here's a chance, here's an opportunity. U of H alum have whined and cried about respectability. One reason, if you want to show respectability, put your money where your mouth's at. Go buy it, and I'm not getting a dime out of this. I'm gonna Sam Houston State alum, but the U of H alumni needs to put their butts in the seat. It should not.
Correct.
They need to be there, regardless of who they're playing.
Thank you. That's key right there. I was about to say that. Salute to you, Corey. These skills right here. 40,000 people will be at TCU in Texas. But my response to that is, how many of those will be TCU fans? How many of those will be Longhorn fans? And how many of those will be Cougar fans? Because I saw it recently, and I've heard it all over the place. All over. I've heard it for years. I still hear it. Well, being in Conference USA and being in the American, there was no rivalries. There was just no reason for us to go to the game. There was one big reason for you to go to the game. Yeah. Especially if you were an alum.
That's it.
To see the Houston Cougars play. Not see the opponents, to see the Cougs play. Especially if you put your time and your money into getting an education from the University of Houston. That should be who you are supporting. Not because of TCU, Memphis, SMU, Texas, A&M, Louisiana, Grambling, Rice. Pick anybody else. South Florida, Cincinnati, UCF, Texas Tech, on and on and on.
Houston Christian or what you want.
Whoever the hell it is.
Yeah.
If you are a supporter of the University of Houston, you should support the University of Houston. You got the season ticket sales have been okay. And they've been good for Houston. Willie Gibson laughs at us when we talk about the numbers. 5,000. Y'all bragging about getting 5,000 season tickets sold. Ooh, or whatever. But truthfully, it's put up or shut up time. The Cougs are about to join the Big 12. July 1st is next month. This is an issue right here. The administration doesn't care about football because I reached out to somebody at UH today to inquire if there is going to be a sort of Houston is now in the Big 12 celebration party kickoff to being an official member of the Big 12. Because of 1 month away, AD, if there is going to be one, it has not been announced yet. It has not been publicized. Maybe it's going to be in the works. Maybe it'll be announced starting tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, whatever. But this is a big freaking deal. As you said, Mr. Moore, I'm going to come back full screen before I go back to other Big 12 football games. Houston fans have whined and griped and complained for years about not being chosen to be part of the Big 12. Well, it's about to happen. So if it's about to happen, and you know how fickle UH fans are, give them a reason to start getting hyped about the upcoming football season with a celebration about joining the Big 12, about phrase it how you want to phrase it in a positive spin. We're finally here. It was a long wait in coming. It was 25, 30 years, but we're finally here. So let's celebrate. Let's celebrate. Being also another way to sell tickets, to sell merchandise, to introduce your fans to some of the coaches, to some of the players, to some of the administrators. All these things you need to do to reconnect with your fans, because a lot of folks feel this way. The administration does not care. So if they don't care, why should the fans care?
Well, it's something that I think was about a week ago. Y'all had Kelvin Sampson on, you and Andy, Willie Gibbs. And the one thing, and Kelvin did allude to that, to the fact that when they had the opportunity, was it 90, 95, 96, when the opportunity was there and they didn't choose them. So obviously you got 20 plus years of that revenues, that Big 12 revenue that they lost out on. Okay.
Right.
But that's water under the bridge now. You are there.
Right.
You're there now. Okay, yeah, we know Oklahoma is going to the SEC. Yes, we know Texas is going to the SEC. Between them, they paying out $100 million between those two to get early exit where they can go get part of the SEC money. Okay, fine. But the fact of the matter remains, the Big Ten, the SEC. So you still got the Big 12. You still got the ACC. There's still going to be some jockeying around as far as, it's no longer going to be the Power Five. It's going to be, because who knows what's going to happen to the Pac-12 now, especially with UCLA and SC moving on over to the Big Ten. So,
Right.
So the bottom line now becomes, all right, the deck chairs are changing around. I'm not saying the deck chairs on the Titanic, and I stated that for a specific reason. This Big 12 is still a viable conference. What they decide to do with their leadership, and Houston could be part of that leadership, and that's steering themselves in that current. Could you see the Big 12 and ACC come together?
No.
I mean, probably not. But could you start looking at some other, like you mentioned earlier, Gonzaga? UConn. You see, UConn. UConn came in and went back out for a while. So there's still a whole lot of volatility going on as far as big time athletics are concerned.
In these closing moments, because I gotta always end it with Sybil Wilkes and what we need to know in the last 4 minutes. But Tony's comment, I understand where he's coming from. Packing the building for a losing organization could make the organization complacent. But what it also does, you have revenue in your organization. You have revenue to pay off coaches who stink, who underachieve. One of the reasons that UH has not made a lot of moves with coaches, they don't have it. They can't afford it because of the lack of support. The lack of support on the field, on the court, the lack of support from the boosters, because a lot of boosters, well, we're not in the Big 12. We're not a Power 5 school. We're not a Power 5 conference. Why should I spend my money? Yet and still, then why are we still losing? Why are we so poor in facilities? Why are we all these other things? Attendance is going to be an issue. The Coogs, UH can no longer rely on Tillman to cut those checks.
Nope.
There's got to be other alums who have money who can step up and say, what do you need? I want this person gone. Whoever that coach is, I want this person gone. What you need? Here. I got it right here. That's what needs to happen. This is big time football now. This is big time business.
Big time athletics, period.
Big time athletics. When the folks, I got some alums yesterday, worried about Jamal Shedd and why he takes so long to make a decision to return to UH. That's what big time programs do. Jamal Shedd, to his credit, he took his trips, NBA franchise, to work him out, to see what he could do, to judge his skill level for the NBA pro level. Why would he take those visits? If his goal is to be a pro player, be in the NBA, and teams foot in that bill, why not take those? If the Cougs and Coach Sampson continue to develop their program, develop their players, and get more NBA players, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I had no worries about him coming back. I mean, Coach Sampson, he's coming back 3 weeks ago. He told us that here on the lunch break. But Jamal still worked out with NBA franchise. Why wouldn't he? And because we knew he wasn't going to be drafted. That's beside the point.
Right.
He was going for the experience.
The evaluation.
The evaluation of what he needs to work on to get better. And that's better for the Cougs coming season overall.
Yeah.
Because you know what you can do in recruiting with some kids 2 years from now, juniors, sophomores now. The staff tells, we got players working out for NBA franchises now. We got guys getting drafted. We got a lottery pick coming up this year. You start to sell yourself. The program sells itself. That's all part of it. That's what big time basketball programs do. That's what Coach Sampson and his staff have established and hopefully will maintain going forward in the Big 12 And if that happens, that UConn joins for basketball, only basketball, the Zaz join for basketball only, we'll see how it all works out. But I was told 10 days ago, shifting gears, we wrap it up, 10 days ago, that Colorado was going to join the Big 12. Okay, 11 days ago, it was happening. I have not changed. That person has not said it's not happening, Chris. So, not a timetable. I think it's going to be pretty soon. Probably might be this month. But the Big 12, Brett Yormark, is trying to make the conference expand nationally from coast to coast. That's his goal. We shall see how much he's willing to tell us. If there is a media session tomorrow, June 2nd, with us and Commissioner Yormark, we will find out. If so, you can see it, hopefully some clips on the Houston Roundball Review on YouTube, Twitter at the HRR Review. All those things happen. That's what we do here on the lunch break now. Thanks to AJ Jones for giving me this platform to share more time, insight, knowledge with you, the fans. Colleague AD Moore, thank you very much. How can folks find you on social media, sir?
You can catch me on Twitter at AD_Moore64. Catch me on Facebook and also catch me on the AdMax Corner YouTube channel as well. And when we're not occupying the Houston Roundball channel, I tie up both of them. And we try to schedule it out. And so as next week, we'll have some more information from the OTAs. And also, I mentioned it earlier. We know the passing of Jim Brown and his longtime friend John Wooten. I'm looking to just give him some time, for him and his good time friend. And hopefully, we're going to get him on here. We just going to have a show dedicated to him, that relationship, and let John Wooten talk about Jim Brown.
We're going to wrap it up. I am KG Chris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review, HoustonRoundballReview.com. I got merch, Houston Roundball Review merch. There's a store tab on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. Merch is there. Shirts, tank tops, tote bag, mugs. Go to the Houston Roundball Review on YouTube. Click on that store tab and buy some merch. I ordered my mug. It'll be here soon. And when I get my mug, I'm going to be cheers, salute, while I'm getting my sips doing these shows here on the Houston Roundball Review on YouTube, as well as on the lunch break here on Roku on the BS3 Network. Salute to everybody. Tony M., thank you for your comments. Mr. Tran, thank you. Corey, everyone, thank you very much for taking time to give me your comments, give us your comments. We hope you enjoyed it.
Corey.
We will be talking Rockets this Saturday. I'll be talking Rockets. Mr. Moore got Texas coming up. But last thing I saw, prediction-wise for the finals, it was 2/3 Nuggets, but it was all 33%. 1/3 Nuggets 4 or 5, 1/3 Nuggets 6 or 7, and then 1/3 Heats in 6 or 7. So go figure that. But as always, enjoy the finals tonight, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. I am wrapping it up. I am KG Chris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. Remember, since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review, local name, global perspective. Closing out with what you need to know from Miss Sybil Wilkes. Everybody, take care.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Today is Thursday, June 1st, 2023. Number 1. Rick Chow, a South Carolina gas station owner, is charged with shooting a 14-year-old black boy in the back as the teen ran from a convenience store at the station in Columbia, South Carolina. Chow apparently falsely believed the boy shoplifted bottles of water, but police say there's no evidence that he stole anything. According to police, Chow and the teen argued before the boy took off running, with Chow and his son chasing after him. The teen fell, got up, and was then shot in the back. Number 2. Pew Research Center has unveiled a few crucial areas where Americans agree to disagree when it comes to the government on the heels of the debt ceiling deadline. More Americans favor increasing rather than reducing government aid to the poor. Reducing the budget deficit is a higher priority for the public than it was last year. And more details for this research are in the What You Need to Know newsletter. Number 3. Also in the newsletter, you can find 5 reasons why colorectal cancer is prevalent in the Black community. 2 of the reasons are lack of representation in clinical research and not knowing your family history. Go to the What You Need to Know newsletter to find out the other 3 reasons and what symptoms you need to look for and could be associated with colorectal cancer. Number 4. November 18th, 2022, Dexter Berry, a 54-year-old black father, was arrested for an alleged verbal threat to a neighbor. During his arrest and while in custody, Mr. Berry repeatedly stressed the importance of taking his daily heart medications, but he was never given his heart medication and died November 23, 2022. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is conducting an administrative review of Berry's death and has not publicly commented on the situation nor released his jail records. Number 5. Governor Bill Lee of Tennessee pushed for and won a $250 million trust fund to finance mental health programs for Tennesseans and their children. But that money sits in the bank collecting interest. So what's the state waiting for? Well, it's a trust fund, not a bank account. And according to the 2021 legislation creating the fund, $225 million of it was to be permanently set aside as an endowment. The trust is not the only funding for mental health for the state's children. State lawmakers this year passed a $230 million school safety bill that included $8 million in new behavioral health funding. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Wise people know when to speak. Fools speak all the time. Join me today live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central with mental wellness contributor Aprilette Russell as we discuss today's top headlines and more. Thank you to our What You Need to Know partners, the American Heart Association and Black Health Matters. I'm Sybil Wilkes. Be informed, be empowered.